Rabbit. And he did a gray rabbit with other positions so that it was like a model sheet. And on it, he signed Bugs' Bunny. And we heard that the same day that it happened, that our rabbit was going to be named Bugs Bunny.
We just think of Bugs Bunny as a fun, alliterative name, but it means crazy rabbit or crazy bunny.
I'm so goony, loony, toony, touched in the head.
Really, his style of, I think it's him and Avery, put them together, and you've got what you think of as that classic Warner Brothers feeling, you know, from that late 30s, early 40s period. That wise guy, smart aleck kind of character.
I think you've got something there, buddy.
That Bugs Bunny was. And the sense of gags, the pace of the gags in the cartoons. This is something that Bugs Hardaway did. But of course, this isn't the Bugs Bunny character that we all came to know and love when he appeared in Tex Avery's A Wild Hare years later.
To a certain extent, even though his films were not as polished as, say, Avery's films, he still had that spirit of everything is nuts that I think was part of the whole Looney Tunes package and started to develop. I mean, basically, if you imagine that the Warner's cartoons were the anti-Disney when Avery and his followers were kind of leading the charge.
Frizz came back. He left MGM. He wasn't happy there. So Bugs was put back in the story department. And I think he was kind of hurt by that. And pretty soon he got a job at Walter Lantz, and he created Woody Woodpecker. That was, as far as I know, that's the last time I saw Bugs Hardaway.
One reason we don't hear more about Norm McCabe today is because all of the cartoons he did were in black and white. They were mostly Porky Pigs. Norm McCabe made capable cartoons and occasionally made great ones. Just wall-to-wall fun and wild caricatures and a great comment on what was going on in the world.
This is bad.
Norm started as an animator for just in the general pool, and then he wound up working on all the black and white Clampetts. He was one of Clampet's best animators. Clampett usually wound up giving him the dialogue scenes to do. And Norm's trademark, if you look at his animations, he's always tilting the head like this and always trying difficult angles on the head. And it's especially evident in his dialogue stuff. And he drew really well in that style, in that black and white Clampett style.
He took over what was Bob Clampett's unit, and he continued making these great black and white cartoons.
Good morning, patients.
A cartoon I like is the Daffy Duckaroo, which is a crazy, loony Daffy Duck cartoon. Really just a classic Daffy Duck cartoon on an Indian reservation. Again, most of his cartoons were done during the early wartime period.
We don't use any ammunition, folks. We save it all for the Army.
And they all feature heavy war-related gags, topical humor of that time. So a lot of them don't play that well to modern audiences only because of these gags to do with ration books, ration stamps.
My favorite cartoon he did was Hop and Go, which is this jumping contest between a kangaroo and two little rabbits, sort of like Scotch rabbits. And Pinto Colvig did the voice of the kangaroo, you know, who also did Goofy for Disney.
And I got a certificate to prove it.
I love that character, you know.
Norm McCabe somehow got saddled with probably the most politically incorrect wartime cartoons ever made at the studio. I mean, really politically incorrect. But as such, I mean, one of the, probably the worst one is Tokyo Jokyo.
Yamamoto will dictate peace terms in the White House.
Yet, his films, I think, did have a kind of personality to them. They weren't Clampett, they weren't Freeling, they weren't Jones. They actually had their own kind of, you know, offbeat personality to them.
Name your poison, kid.
He, out of all of them, might have been the one that could have gotten a personal voice that could have held his own with some of the others. But for whatever reason, I guess, and it might have been because he was the last director still directing in black and white, I believe, that he just never got the chance.
He was working like right up to the end of his life, just doing whatever he could do. It's amazing, man. I got to know him a little bit. And incredibly modest about his Looney Tunes. He hated them all. We had a show of them one time at the ASIFA office over in North Hollywood, and poor Norm was suffering through every one. He said, "Oh, turn those off. I can't stand looking at them."